Hello, today we are painting an American Shorthair cat with acrylic paints. What you will need is a canvas. This one is an 8 by 10 inch. Anything around this size will work. I have a large, medium, and small flat brush that I'll be using, as well as a small round liner for details, a cup for water, a washcloth or paper towel, and some sort of paint palette. The colors we'll use today are blue and green for the background. You might want a little bit of yellow to mix in with that green as well. And then I'm just going to be using black and white for the rest of the painting. Oh, one more color I guess you could have is a pink, some sort of pink for the nose and the ears. All right, so to start our painting off, we will need to paint the background. When this background is fully painted, we're going to need it to be dry before we move to painting our cat. So you might need a hair dryer as well in your tools so that you can dry that whole background off completely before moving on to the cat. Otherwise, you'll just have to wait for it to dry, and that takes like 10 to 15 minutes usually. So to start off, I mixed a little bit of white into my blue. I like my background to be a really light blue color. And I'm gonna paint a line across the painting, just like this. It's a little bit down from the middle because we want to have more sky than grass. So I just paint that line across, and then I'm gonna fill everything else in. I like to paint down the side and then push the paint inwards. Down the side and then in. There's a few little chunks of dried paint in there. That's what I'm getting off my brush there. So just fill all this in. Try to use all the paint that I made. All right. And once that's totally done, you got all your blue sky painted. Wipe extra paint off your brush, and you can rinse off any blue that's left. I'll put this to the side and get out some green. A little bit there. I like to mix a little bit of yellow, just like I mixed that white into the blue to make the background lighter. The yellow just makes that green a little bit lighter. Just so that my cat can stand out better against this green background. I like to make a line across. Okay. And just finished up the bottom here, filling all this ground in nice and green. All right. Once that's done, it's all nice and smooth and there's no white left over. I'm going to rinse my brush and clean it really good because I'm going to put that away. Get it really clean. And using my hair dryer, now I'm just going to dry all of this completely off. Okay, this is nice and dry now. Grab my picture for reference. We are painting an American Shorthair cat, and the base of it is going to be white. Cover that a little bit more. Okay. So the base of our American Shorthair here is a white color. So that's what we will start off with. Putting some white paint on our canvas, or I'm sorry, on our palette. Get a nice little pile going. And we're gonna use the medium flat brush for this. Cover the bristles really good. Get a lot of paint. Get some paint mixed in there really nice. And we will start off with a circle to make this shape of the back part of our cat. I'm gonna point to the middle of the canvas. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna go over to right about here. And this is where I'm gonna paint my first circle. You can start with a C shape like this. Bring it down over the green, just a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna go right ahead and do my tail, just so I can see how that's gonna look and what size it's gonna be. Just flick it up there. And then we're gonna finish this circle. Bring this circle around. All right, so you got this weird circle shape with a tail now. We're gonna paint another circle right next to it in front of it, but up a little bit higher. So this circle can come down right before that green and connect over to this back circle. We're gonna fill all this in, painting up like that. Finish this body. And then we're just doing our best here to make sure all the blue is covered up. But it's probably gonna it's gonna need to dry a little bit, and then we're gonna have to go back to get all the background covered up, because white is a little bit see-through. Okay. Let's add some legs. So coming straight down from this front. Straight down here. And for those feet, you make a flat line at the bottom and then curve it back up. Just down, over, flat, curve back up. And we got some paws going. Very nice. If you need to use a smaller brush for this, that would also be totally okay. All right. Now we just need a back foot, again, along this curve. I'm gonna bring this back to kind of like a point. And then I'm just gonna come straight out with it. Curving the back, putting a little curve on the front toe. Now this will need a minute to dry, so we can go back and do another layer. While that's happening, we're gonna paint a head on our cat right at the top here. I'm sure you can imagine where your head is gonna go, but you can start with a C shape right here. Don't go too high up because you still want room for ears. Make a C shape on this side. Fill it in. And then complete this circle all the way over here. Fill that in. And throw some ears. 1, 2. Triangle. 1, 2. Nice little triangles. If you're struggling to get those pointy, just wait until you have your smaller brush, okay? Now that's pretty good. I want it to dry though because I need to fix some things. And I'm not happy with how much blue. You can still see the blue coming through and the green coming through. So we're gonna dry it and then do one more layer. Now, I was planning to use this big brush again, so I didn't wash it, but I just decided I'm gonna use the next smaller brush. So rinse that one and put it away. So we're done with this brush now. And we're gonna use a smaller brush to fix this stuff, okay? So just going back over, making the tail more white. I'm going to add a little bit more volume right here. And right here too, I want my neck to be a little bit bigger. And even the side of my cat's head, just a little bit bigger. Fixing my ear. Making sure they're even and that everything looks good. Down here. it can be nice how see-through acrylic paints are, because it helps with doing layering and creating a lot of fun different ways to paint. But the only problem with that is when you're trying to paint something super solid like this cat, sometimes it takes a few layers to get it to be completely solid color. That's also why we make the background as light as possible, because the lighter the background, the less layers you'll have to do when your colors are see-through. Okay. Now, that's looking pretty good, and I'm very happy with how this is coming along. Just gonna finish that up. It's time to move on to our stripes. Alrighty. I actually think that what I want to do, because the eyes are going to take a minute to dry before we can put in the pupils, because there are 3 different colors in the eyes, so we need the green to dry before we can paint the black. So I'm going to go in with my green first before I do any of these stripes or any of these details. So get a little bit more green, unless you have some still from your background, in which case you could use that. I'm mixing mine with a little bit of water just to make it a little bit more manageable. And I'm using my smallest detailed brush, my small round liner. I'm gonna put one eye right here, so I do a straight line and then a curved line on top. Fill that in. Don't make it too big. That's as big as you'd want it to be. And then again, straight line. On the other side, we're doing the same thing. All right. Now we let those dry while we move on to our stripes. Let's get some gray paint. Put a little bit of black down here, a little bit of white. We already have some white on here, but I'm just gonna mix a little bit next to that so I can mix them directly together. I'm also gonna go ahead and get my pink here. Remember, with the pink, you only need a tiny, tiny bit. Okay. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of white in that pink. And I'm gonna paint some triangles in the ears. 1, 2, 3. Fill that in. This ear too. And fill that in. Our nose is gonna be pink too, so line across the middle of those eyes. I like to curve the sides and then put a little point. Just like that. Awesome. Now rinse your brush. And I'm going to use that same brush. I'm going to mix this gray next to the black. See how I'm not using all the black? I'd like to slowly mix my paint so that I can get exactly the color I'm going for. If I mixed all that black in there, it would have been too dark. So I'm just going to slowly keep adding a little bit of black until I get the perfect gray color I'm going for. And then once that's this nice medium gray, I'm going to start going in and adding our stripes. So the tip of the tail is going to be gray. I'm going to add some stripes down the tail. Just like that. I make this a little bit lighter. On the top of the head. You go around the ears. Yours can look a little bit different from mine because obviously all of our cats are striped and patterned a little bit different. So with all of these gray stripes, you could do yours a little different. Okay. I'm just gonna keep going around adding stripes. Underneath my cat's chin, I'm going to go ahead and paint this line here just to distinguish the head from the neck so that I can come in with some more stripes. Okay, some on the back. I'm actually going to go around with some outlines here because I think it'll make this whole process a lot easier. You can either take a black, like a pure black, or I'm gonna mix my black and my gray, making a really dark gray color that I'm gonna very quickly just go around outlining my painting. I'm gonna go kind of quickly because I can, because I've had a lot of practice doing line work. But if you are new to making lines like this with your paintbrushes, you might need to practice or go really slow because it takes some time to get nice thin lines like this. So do your very best. I just think that outlining our cat is gonna really help getting all of these stripes in here and making it look right. I'm pressing very lightly on the canvas to get these lines to be nice and thin. If I need to add a little bit of water to thin it out, just so it goes on smoother, I do that. Just going around all the painting, just adding this line. Awesome. While we have this black, well, if you're not using black, go ahead and mix it with a little bit more black. It is as close to black as possible. Again, with these nice thin lines, we're gonna paint our smile, curl up, curling up, adding a little chin. We're gonna add the eyeballs now too. So you can outline these green shapes if you feel comfortable and that you can do it thin enough. Outline the green. And then right in the top, nice little circle. Connected to the top, down circle for our eyeballs. Okay. Again, you can outline some more of these shapes if you feel comfortable. If not, don't do that because I don't want you to mess up your painting, but if you feel like you can get those nice little lines in there, go for it. Now that I have these outlines, I feel a little bit better about coming in with some more stripes. Just kind of adding them all over the place. I'm going to mix a little bit of white with this gray, bring it up so that it's a few shades lighter. And then with this lighter gray, I'm going to again just come through here. This is kind of going to add some fun details to your cat. Okay, it's like it adds a little bit more dimension to these stripes. All right. Once you're happy with all the stripes on your cat, we have one more step before we are totally finished. And that is to put the white highlights in the eyes. So if you don't have any white on your canvas or your palette, get some more white out. This is actually dry, so I'm just gonna drop one little drop of white on here. And using that small brush, I'm just going to pop a little white circle in the corner of both eyes. All right, and just like that, our American Shorthair cat is all finished. I hope you had fun following along with this today and that you learned something about painting with acrylics. If you want to come back for another cat video, we have lots of different cat breeds that we'll be painting together. Next up is the Maine Coon. But there's going to be lots of cats, lots of dogs, and other animals available to paint. So I would love to see you again to do that in a future video. But for now, thank you again so much for following along, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks again. Bye-bye.